Hello, Jimmy. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Is crypto treating you well these days, or?
I think we are looking into something interesting the next years, and I think the last 10 years has been good. So
Yeah, last 10 years, and hopefully also the next 10 years, 20, 30, whatever have you. But for those people that doesn't know you, maybe you can just introduce yourself.
My name is Jimmy, and I got introduced to Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain back in late 2010, have been sold since. I think it's when the first time I actually read about anything regarding blockchain and Bitcoin. At that point, I was quite sure that it was going to be something really, really interesting for the next many years. So I actually started, just got some information, tried to Google it, but at that time actually there wasn't that much information out there. So so you had to finding some groups and forums where you could find some people that were a little more into this new space, and so everything started actually that I pulled 3-4 weeks out of my calendar and just started to read and figure out what is this. Of course, I was reading the white paper from
Satoshi. Our God and Savior.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm not that kind of technical guy. Actually, I understood what it was about, but I also thought that the technical aspect and the entire thing about blockchain and stuff like this was really interesting. But the most interesting was actually that you can transfer money from one person to another person in instant, in seconds. And later on, when I then also realized that the mining part, actually it started that I just downloaded the only Bitcoin wallet at that time. It called Bitcoin Wallet, I think.
Makes sense.
Wasn't really smart, wasn't really looking good, but it was what it was. So it worked. And when the wallet was synchronized with the chain. It has to before you actually can see the transaction and stuff like this. We started actually making some transaction with Bitcoin, and then one time when I actually looked at my screen, I could see that I actually came more Bitcoin into my wallet. I was like calling one of my friends and did you send anything? And said no. Okay, I just got some Bitcoins. So what about this? So that was the next step, actually. What is mining? How does it work? Because I knew that at that time that every 10 minutes on the algorithm was telling that there were coming 50 Bitcoins. But who is going to get the Bitcoin and how and why and stuff like this? And I really quick realized that just having your wallet open and synchronized with the network, you were actually participating to validate the transaction. So I saw the opportunity that every single people in the world who has internet access, a smartphone, a computer, or anything, can actually be part of this network. And that was really the point where I thought this is going to be really, really big. So the next big thing was, where can I buy them? Where can I get them?
Right.
How can I get them?
But what year was this? When did you mine? What year?
I think it was late 2010. So we are beginning 2011, where we actually started the mining game. I had a good friend. He was a lot more nerdy than me and knew a lot about gaming computer, and he and one of his friends actually figured out right that it was the CPU, the power, actually the calculation, the graphic card and stuff like this.
The GPU,
that made this happen. I didn't understand anything about it, but I thought that's really interesting. So I started to say, okay, let's invest in it. Let's get some computer stuff and let's build something that works. And we did. And at that point, we actually started Bitcoin mining. First at home, and later in my friend's garage. And
so you use some gaming computers, just
we
change them into a Bitcoin mine.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about that, actually, because around the same time in October 2010, I started at university in Barcelona, and I remember they had a super fast internet connection, and at that time I was also getting interested in Bitcoin and blockchain and all these things. And I just said, okay, in my mind, if they have a fast internet connection, they must be good at mining Bitcoin. What I didn't realize was that it all depends on the computer. But anyways, I set up my laptop, my old Compaq laptop or some shitty computer for mining. And back then you could do that, and still make sense, like economic sense. Now it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
But that laptop, I didn't, I mined a few Bitcoins, forgot everything about it, and now it's probably sitting somewhere in a trash. But I guess everybody has a story like that.
Yeah, I think everybody, and normally when the prices of Bitcoin is going really high, then the storage is coming out. And at some point, I also think that when I started to look into Bitcoin and crypto and stuff like this, there wasn't that many people. So many of the stories that are coming now. Maybe there are people that had heard from someone who has heard from someone. So I don't think that all the stories that are out there are actually true. But of course, many came into the market and many have made a lot of mistakes. And I realized I had at that time I had a MacBook Air Generation 1, and I was mining Bitcoin.
Like the thinnest of the thinnest MacBook.
Actually, with the slowest processor and stuff like this, but still I could. So that's why I also realized that everyone can do this. And later on, when we were actually going into the mining a little bit more hardcore, a friend he contacted one of his guys, and he had what is called where people walk in and playing games.
A gaming store.
Net cafe.
You can go in and pay per hour for...
Yeah, but every night when they're closed, and in the day when they didn't have any more customers and stuff like this, we actually mined Bitcoin on these machines. And later on...
You probably made more mining Bitcoin on those computers than...
Yeah, we did. But at that time, Bitcoin wasn't that really that... valuable. So at that point it was just for fun, actually, and we actually made a program that if the computer wasn't on a game for 10 minutes, then the program started mining.
Clever.
And we made a lot of stuff, and then after a while, I actually in the meantime I started to buy some Bitcoins. The first place I bought them was from Trade Hill. I think it was one of the first exchanges or exchange was a trading place where you could buy crypto.
And how did you buy? Like, what did you buy with? Basically, kroner.
Yeah, it was kroner. Transferred to I think it was a French bank. They transferred in euro to another bank, and then at some point the money arrived, and I got a mail. Your funds are here. You can now buy Bitcoins. And at that time it was only Bitcoin.
Right. And when is this?
I think it was beginning 2011. And then after a while, MT Cox came, the second exchange. Actually, it became the world biggest exchange in a few weeks. And everything started with this guy, Mark.
Not me.
No, not you. Another Mark.
Another Mark.
Yeah, and he was actually he had this website where he was selling magic cards.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called MG Gox, because of Magic the Guardian or something. So everything went so fast that he didn't actually bought a new domain or anything like this. He just made some change on his magic card trading platform and became the biggest, largest crypto trading platform in the world.
It's kind of interesting actually to see how Bitcoin and crypto in general is very tied to the gaming industry. Mining was predominantly done on GPUs, gaming computers.
Yeah.
Mt. Gox came from Magic Card, kind of online Magic Card. Even Bitcoin as an asset was first popularized in Second Life. I remember the I can't remember, like not VR, but a game that tried to be, a virtual reality kind of thing for people. So it's kind of interesting to see how gaming and crypto has been sort of growing together, I guess.
Yeah, but I think it was really, really nerdy. Because when I was in the different groups, one of the forum was like sitting on DOS. It was just crazy, and I didn't understand anything about it.
Right.
But I saw the idea, and I saw that many people, not a big amount of people, but there was a lot of people that actually could see the same thing I thought, and I also think that we were a little bit anarchistic. We had something that we didn't thought was right of the way everything was going in the financial market, the government and stuff like this. So I think that the way that we actually saw the world was actually the same, but we had so many different what's called interests.
Right.
I was in sales, but many of the guys that I was talking were programmers and just computer nerds.
Right.
So I think that was actually the beginning of everything. And then after a while, when I think it was 2013 or something, when MT Cox went bankruptcy. I remember Lasse, he the founder of Coinify. He had like his little trading company where people were sending him money to his bank account, and he took like 20% of it, and then he bought Bitcoin for people. Them. So it was really low practice stuff. But he was like, okay, he believed so much in Bitcoin, and also MT Cox that there was just like a little flaw in their system. So so he was out actually buying Bitcoin 1 to something instead. So when we got access, then he would get the Bitcoin.
Right.
But they never opened again, and I don't know how many of these deals he made, but I don't hope that it was too many. Yeah. So I was one. I lost quite a big amount. At that point, it wasn't a big amount of what I actually had in Bitcoin, but it was today it was a really large amount.
If you take today's Bitcoin price, it would be.
I'm not thinking about it because it's also Bitcoin Cash. It's
right.
all the forks are also there. So it was learning.
Where do you think all the money went? Where did Bitcoin, did the founder just take it? Did Mark take it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know that they found about 200,000 Bitcoins, and about 900,000 Bitcoin was gone.
Damn.
I know that many companies are tracking all the address and stuff like this, but I don't think that he actually was a cruel guy. I just think that he had a really shitty platform for being the world's biggest trading platform in a new cryptocurrency.
And it exploded pretty fast, to his defense, right? I mean, he probably didn't expect that much traction and that much success so fast.
No, because also there were no support, there was nothing, because it was just like a guy had a website and was selling some cryptocurrency.
But was it hacked? Like, maybe he doesn't, typically you see founders, going underground and disappearing. But probably they just got hacked, and somebody took it somewhere.
Yeah, they told us that that there was some hack that actually just slowly took a lot of Bitcoins. But I think the biggest problem was that the way they actually traded them was not that they actually took one Bitcoin and sent to another.
Right.
Because it was going so fast. So I think that many of the trades actually were just air trades. Right. So that actually the Bitcoin wasn't there. So when you looked into your account, maybe it was sitting there in 500 Bitcoin. But I don't actually think that the Bitcoin were there. and then all about the cold storage and
Right.
the hot wallet and stuff like this. I think it was just very very early, and people are doing mistakes, and
Right.
and I remember later when the lawsuit here, I think it was last year or year before, because Bitcoin went that high in prices. Mark he became really rich because he was the biggest user. He owed like 80% of the company through another company. So when they took the 200,000 Bitcoin and sold some of them to actually give back money to people, he earned like many billions.
Right.
But the problem was that people are not interested in actually getting the money back in dollar or yen or stuff.
They want the Bitcoin
they
back.
want the Bitcoins.
Yeah.
And they couldn't because they only had like 200,000 Bitcoin, and there was like 900,000 Bitcoin that was stolen. So, but the price, they could go and say, you're going to get a nice price. But there was a lot of mistakes in the lawsuit. So actually, instead of getting amount of Bitcoin or anything else, you will get the price from the Bitcoin at that time, but paid out in yen.
Right.
So it was really, I think it was a little bit difficult to actually get in and be part of the lawsuit, because you had to sign up for the lawsuit on Chinese. So so you had to like.
Were they registered in China? I think there was a Canadian company, right?
No, it was based in China.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So there was a lot of problems. But there were many problems. It was like also at that time I actually thought that if I had Bitcoin on my computer, that the Bitcoin was on
there.
my computer. So at a time when I lost a USB stick with about
just like I lost my laptop
today, a large amount of Bitcoin, then but they never were there. So actually it was just the key, or it was just the access to them. So I've thrown a lot of Bitcoin out of the window. Also when my MacBook Air went broke and stuff like this. So the learning phase is very steep in this space, and you have to really look into what you're doing, because it can go really fast. And I think at that point also, when we went mining from GPU, CPU to GPU to then the ASIC mining,
right.
Then everything changed. I remember me and one of my friend Kenneth, we bought a Bitcoin miner, a professional Bitcoin miner from Butterfly Labs. At that
Like a company that was operating.
At that time, it was the only one, the biggest and only manufacturer of Bitcoin hardware. And I remember we paid 32 Bitcoins for a 60 gigahash mining rig. I think today we are talking petahash or Terra or whatever. So at that point, we actually you could make a good amount of Bitcoin mining with a graphic card, CPU or GPU. But when the chip mining came, everything changed. But I think the most beautiful about it, and that's also when people are talking about these new computers and stuff that are going to disrupt crypto and blockchain and stuff like this. But the time when you went from CPU to GPU, it was also 100,000 times, and when we went to the ASIC miners, it was also 100,000 times faster.
Right.
But the network just adapt. So more power you put into the network, then the difficulty just raises.
Right.
And that's like the algorithm of the blockchain. So even if you have like a ridiculous amount of money and you can go and buy all kind of hardware,
supercomputer.
Yeah, supercomputers. The system will just adapt. So at that point when we got the machine, I think it was pre-ordered, and 5 months later we actually got the machine. I remember the first thing we did, we were like, oh, the package is arrived. So we went and got the package, and when we opened it, it was
like shaking.
It was like, ooh. never saw anything. It was so perfect made.
This is a gold mine.
Yeah, it was like when we made the mining machines, the mining rig. It was just wood and the screws and stuff like this. Just to hold it. This was like a perfect product,
right?
With logo and everything was just perfect. And
right.
and the power supply should be actually a more power consumption than normally computers, because they actually made something nice about it. And we were like, I know Kenneth, he plugged it in to start it, and then it just said, and then there came black or gray technical smoke out of it. It was like, and he just started crying. Because it was just like, oh no, what did we do? So we figured out that we actually had to pull out some slip to get it started. So everything was working. So we actually burned the power supply, but it was only the power supply. So we then put a normal computer power supply on it and stuff like this and get it working. But at the time when it was too old, it had made like 5.5 bitcoins, because everyone was getting the machines at the same time, and we were like batch 1 and 2,
right?
And there came like 1,000 of these machines. So the difficulty in the network just skyrocketed. So
damn.
I think it was one of the baddest investments I ever done. But later then we
next to Mt. Gox maybe.
Yeah, Mt. Gox was also not the big, but it was actually not my investment or my idea that I'm going to lose Bitcoin. But here we actually made a
conscious choice.
Yeah, we thought it was a really smart choice that using 32 Bitcoins to buy this beautiful machine.
And only get 5 in return.
Yeah.
What do you think? There's a big discussion going on right now about quantum computers, next level computing kind of hardware.
Yeah.
And the discussion is basically that quantum computer is going to demolish blockchains. Like it's just going to blockchains and cryptocurrency normally is looked upon as, completely safe. It can't be hacked. The network is going to take care of it. You can't do 51% attacks.
Yeah.
But again, quantum computers a whole different beast. It's not an iteration from CPU to GPU. It's actually a whole different kind of computers that will just change the game forever. But do you think quantum computers will demolish blockchains, as some people say?
The easy or the short answer is no. But I'm not a technical guy. But what I see is that I think the system will adapt to it. But I think that it will interrupt the system. It will maybe slow it down or even get stopped in a short period. Because if a supercomputer or a super mining rig is going to take over the hashing rate and all the other computer or mining rigs out there can actually compete with them.
Right.
Of course, this will going to be a problem, but I also think that instead of looking that it will go to disrupt or interrupt or even break down blockchain and Bitcoin, I think a quantum computer is going to do a lot more worse in other spaces,
right? Before it starts attacking.
Yeah, I think with all the codes if we take like the most extreme that access to nuclear weapons and stuff like this, and also banking systems, and I don't think that you will use a quantum computer to actually start working on crypto. I think there are many other places where you can do a lot more damage. Go in, interrupt or disrupt or set back or actually shut down the entire stock market.
Right.
I see a lot bigger problems over there.
Yeah. And relatively speaking, crypto is a very small market compared to the equities market, the bond market,
exactly.
etc.
We're like 6% of gold standard at the moment or something like this. So I also think that, and I know that all the system, the blockchain from Bitcoin and other blockchains, they are actually working on making them secure about these quantum computer technique.
So there are people working on this.
Yeah. So I know that it is a problem, but I don't think that when we are coming there and actually having the first quantum computer, I don't think it's a problem anymore.
Right.
But time will tell.
Sure.
It's like because quantum computer is something we haven't seen yet, so we can actually say what is it going to do.
Yeah. It's guesswork right now.
Yeah, and also I think also the bigger problem is actually if it can hack the private keys instead.
Right.
Then you don't have to interrupt the system. You can just.
So that's the point about 51% attacks, right? If you can hack the private key, you can basically just steal everybody's money. Yeah. Then you have the majority of Bitcoin at some point, and then you can change the protocol.
Yeah. But the problem also, I think, if you actually make a 51 attack and take that amount of Bitcoin out of the system, I don't think you will go to sell them. Right. Because everyone will know that this address or this is not good working with. And companies like Chain Analyst is a good thing. They actually go in and blacklist these addresses every time there's a hack or something is stolen. So I don't think it's that easy to actually do it. So and I think the amount of money that you have to spend on a quantum computer versus what you actually will get out of crypto. Right. I think there are better ways to use the new machine.
Right. And it is an arms race, right? I mean, we're only going to get better from here. Technology improves. And by the time the first quantum computer that hits the streets, if you will, manages to go into production, then blockchain, crypto, security in general is going to be far more advanced than what we see right now. And even when the quantum computer is there will be people that will respond to this chain analysis you mentioned. Like there will be, organizations, protocols, technologies that can actually circumvent any big hacks, wide-scale hacks. But going back to Mt. Gox and your story, I interrupted. So what happened after Mt. Gox?
After Mt. Gox, I didn't lose faith in Bitcoin, but I actually lose faith in humanity because I thought every time when there's coming something new, right. Where it's a little bit easier to get into crypto, there are humans' mistakes. Every time when Bitcoin is hacked, it's a third-part human mistake.
True.
A technical problem, cruelty, or just idiots on the back of the site.
True.
So actually, instead of, I think I lost a little bit of interest. I was still there. I was still in the groups, and I was still working on it. But I actually changed a lot and started more working on information to educate people about it and all the bad stuff that actually can happen, but also all the good stuff that will happen. Right. So at that point I had a little Facebook group I started in 2011, and no one was coming in, and I know Lasse was one of them in there, and he used it to actually promote his own little business, and that was fine. Right. We were all in the same boat, so everyone was
growing the ecosystem. Growing the ecosystem.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. And I think that the whole idea about that now we had like the really big problem that one of the biggest exchanges just closed down. Yeah. And no one knew what to do and stuff like this. But I think at that time when the next big step was actually when Ethereum had the ICO.
And this is when?
Was 2014, I believe.
Right.
Or maybe 14, 15. And something new started. I think between that, I actually made a company together with Morten Ramsgaard from Reality Clash Gaming, where we bought a lot of mining rigs, professional mining rigs, and then we actually lent out the hash. So we had, I think it was one of the first cloud mining companies or setups. But actually with physical products, we had the machines,
the iron was
and then
there.
we just rent out 75% of the machine power. And I think when we started it, it was like, okay, we had this machine, and of course there was expenses on cost and running cost and electricity and stuff like this. And we were like, okay, if we can get this money in, then we can buy a new machine and a new machine, and actually making like
and eventually take over the world.
Yeah, exactly. At that time it was like making a mining farm, but at that point the word mining farm wasn't existed. But we did, and we started actually in I think it was Bitcoin Talk Denmark was the group that me and Jack from Arise we started a couple of years before. That we actually made a post where we said, okay, we have this mining rig, it's 2.7 terahash, and the first was 60 gigahash, so it was a really big machine in beside the first one, and I think we had like 100 contracts, and they were sold on the same evening.
Wow.
So we saw that there actually was a service and a product here, and the whole idea was actually first that we of course would get our costs on having these machines running, but also actually giving people the opportunity to get in and be mining and making the validation on transaction and stuff like this. I think it was a bigger part of the whole idea, getting people in, because we had like the Bitcoin, so we could buy the expensive machines.
Right.
They were like $80,000 at that time for one machine. It was crazy, and it was upfront payment, and you just waited for them
and cross your fingers that it would arrive.
So it was the cost of mining was really expensive, because you had to buy the really expensive machines, and then you had to like mine Bitcoin, and then there came the expenses of electricity and stuff like this,
right.
Cooling system.
Right.
We had air conditioning in the room where they actually was standing, because it was just going to be too hot.
Sounds pretty expensive to run.
Yeah, it was.
Not just to acquire.
And at that time we actually didn't know how expensive it was to run a mining farm in Denmark. But we got smarter, and after a while we actually I think we bought 10 machines more, and then the company we bought from was actually a company in Switzerland, a crypto or mining rig manufacturer, and they went bankrupt.
Okay.
So
must have been a pretty profitable endeavor to sell all these machines.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people make jokes that the people that got rich on crypto is those that sold the mining gear to people.
But I think the biggest problem was that, they got the upfront payment and stuff like this, but also they got the payment in Bitcoin.
Right.
And it was exactly at that point where Bitcoin had their first big crash. I think it was 2013, 14 or something.
Right.
Where Bitcoin had like a 90% crash drop on the price.
Right.
So all the money they actually got into manufacture these products, they didn't have the money at that time when they actually should manufacture it. And also at that time it was the whole industry of getting these ASIC chip was big, and no one could actually deliver them. So I don't think that they actually did it on purpose, going bankruptcy with the company, but but we had like sold all the contracts for all these 10 machines. So, and we actually paid a lot of the cost of the machines with the money we got from the users. So we were standing there with a big problem that we actually had to pay people back.
So you had to pay people, or you paid already to the company that went bankrupt, using some of the money that people had paid in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we were that lucky that we were into Bitcoin at an early stage. So we actually had Bitcoin and money to give back, but it cost a lot. I don't know if it was 50, 80 Bitcoin or something like this.
Right.
So at that time it was quite a big amount, and but we paid back all our users and then shut down the business. So that was our mining farm business. And then later on, I've never done it just to make a business out of it. It's always been like getting people in So they have the opportunity, even if you only have like $10, you can get in.
Right.
Because when I started, I got in with $2,000. Oh, my first investment, about 10,000 kroner. And afterwards, I made another investment on 10,000 kroner, and that's actually the entire amount that I've used on traditional fiat currency.
Okay.
In crypto.
So you spent 20,000 in total, Danish crowns.
Yeah.
About $3,000, $3,500. That's the only thing that you spent from fiat.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. And I think that in total we have bought product and service and stuff like this for, I don't know, maybe 500,000 bitcoins or more.
Yeah.
So the whole idea actually have been always to help people to get in on a cheap way for them, to sniff a little bit about crypto and see how it works. And that's also why we actually started, Jack and I started our Facebook group, to educate people, to people to come in and tell us about something, learn us something, and also educate other people and help people to realize there are flaws in the system, but it's not Bitcoin or actually crypto. It's also third parts. There are scams out there and stuff like this. So all those mistakes we made, we try to tell people not to do again.
Right.
I think that was actually the biggest reason why we started. And I remember when Jack was still young. Yes, he still is. He actually asked me if I knew, or if someone knew, some guy in a crypto company where he could just start like making Piccolo stuff or just
an
working.
internship.
Yeah, just internship and just being there, just feeling the vibes and stuff like this. And at that point, I was speaking with Hans Henrik Hermann Hofmeier, Hans Henrik Hermann Hemmingsen, so not Hofmeier. He's in Coinify right now. But the 4 H's, and he was actually at that point in Coinify before it was Coinify. It was actually at the point when the two companies from Chris and from Lasse should be connected and merged to what today is Coinify. And Hans Henrik Hermann Hemmingsen was the guy who actually stood in front to merge these two companies. So I called him and I said, I have this guy Jack. He is
very passionate about crypto.
Really passionate about crypto. At that time he was like the crypto anarchist. He was just sending messenger to all the big companies in Denmark. Why are you not taking crypto for payment and stuff like this? So he was really passionate about it. And yeah, he got a job at Coinify, and later on he was head of in the crypto lab, or where he was just working on a lot of cases where we could use crypto and Bitcoin, and if you send Bitcoin to this address, then a solar panel was paid for, and then there came light in a third world country and stuff like this. So really enthusiastic about everything what he did. But he also...
Was this before or after he became Bitcoin Jack, where he lived a month on Bitcoin only? It was in 2014.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin Jack came when he was in Coinify, because he made this little deal that he was got paid in Bitcoin, and then he was live on Bitcoin for a month.
True.
And I think that started everything. But before that, he was Bitcoin Jack, because he was this anarchistic little dude just sending to Coca-Cola, why are not taking Bitcoin, and to IKEA and all the big companies. Just spamming them on their Facebook pages. So I think he has always been Bitcoin Jack, but I think at the time when he was starting in Coinify, he actually became Bitcoin Jack because he was living on Bitcoin for a month.
I have a funny story about Jack actually. I think it's before for sure it's before he became Bitcoin Jack. I don't know if it's before he joined Coinify, but I was at a Christmas lunch. I think we're back in 2013. And I don't know Jack at this point. And he comes late to the Christmas lunch. And this guy comes in, high energy, very passionate about Bitcoin, and I mined Bitcoin in the past, but then I lost interest. I think also the crash and Mt. Gox and all these different things. Like, okay, I'll just wait it out. This is too crazy.
Yeah.
My point is, I was sitting there at Christmas lunch, hearing about Bitcoin and talking to him. I was sitting next to him by coincidence, and he said, "Yeah, you need to totally get back in. You know, it's changing the world." Da da da. I said, "Okay, how do I get back in?" "You should download this app, Jax, I think, or something like that. And then you can store your Bitcoin on your phone. It's your wallet, da da da." It's like, okay, I'll download it. And then he sent me Bitcoin. I think he sent me like, I remember it as almost half a Bitcoin. Maybe it was just, 0.1 Bitcoin. In any case, he sent me. I forgot totally everything about it. I was receiving Bitcoin from other people as well. Totally forgot it. Again, threw out my phone. It's someplace, God knows where. But Jack actually, that's the whole point of the story. Jack actually sparked my interest again in crypto back in 2013. Nice. And we sit here today in 2007. So I think a lot of people, especially in Denmark, owes a lot of, they should be thankful for you and Jack for spending God knows how much money, time, etc. to get us all excited about this. For those of us who has been excited about it and then lost interest, we've been excited again about this. So yeah, that's a bit of a story about Jack, how I know Jack also.
Yeah, but I also remember when from the beginning and actually till 2015, 16 or something, every time when I was helping people getting into crypto, the first thing was like downloading the app or downloading the wallet, synchronized with the system and blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff, and then we had like to test it. So I was sending like 400 kroners Bitcoin. I've done that since 2011. So some of these people that I helped has like bought houses for the 100 kroner I sent to them, and the last one maybe could buy a pencil, but still every time I used Bitcoin to send to them, so they could see I actually got them. So the system works, and from there I actually now you're on your own. But if there's any problem, call me, send a text, whatever. Got just if whatever you need. I think that actually is the whole idea. And I also remember back in 2011, 12 and 13, we had like this little group. We were meeting maybe once a month or every 14 days on Musen and Elefanten in a little bar in Copenhagen. And it was
the Mouse and the Elephant.
Yes, the Mouse and the Elephant. And there was the place, because we met there, because we the owner, we got him to actually that we could buy beer with Bitcoin. So that was why we were there.
I really hope he didn't sell his Bitcoin right after.
I hope too. And I remember was the setup was actually through Coinify. It was a system where we could just pay. In the beginning, it was just sending to address, and then they converted it. But later on, it was like we just sent 20 kroners and then we got a beer. I remember at that time actually I bought this little guy from Chris.
Nice.
I don't know if I paid 20 or 50 kroners in Bitcoin or something for it,
which is today
quite a lot. But it was nice actually to meet people that were as enthusiastic as I am and was at that time, because also I also spoke with my girlfriend about it a lot of time, but she wasn't not that interesting. So it was really nice actually meet people face to face in real life and had these discussion and stuff like this. And there was like some kind of family around it. It was we were like, no one out there understood what we were talking about, but we together we did, and that was actually really interesting. And today still the community and the whole crypto space, it's still like a small family, because many of people actually I've been in a room together with now are like CEO of Kraken, CEO of Coinbase, CEO of Chain Analyst and stuff like this. So the small group that were there at that time, they actually are the big guys today. And Niklas Nikolaisen and all these guys, they did it, but they also really had a fight, because no one were really interesting in working with them, talking with them, seeing them, hearing them, or hearing their prayers about this new payment system. So I think all these people are really awesome because they saw the opportunity in it, and many of them have today really, really nice businesses about it. I never saw the business aspect of this, but I think that I have been helping a lot of people doing business in it, and also private doing good. And I can see it because when I do stuff today, I think there's not a town in Denmark where I can go and get a free meal in a restaurant or a place to sleep in a hotel, just because I've been helping people getting into crypto. And I think that's a nice thing to actually realize.
Do you think we are undergoing the biggest wealth transfer of all time? Basically, all the people that you help, right?
Yeah.
Most of them, if not all of them, that receive Bitcoin from you, ETH, whatever, they have bought houses, as you said, they bought cars, they bought whatever. This will probably continue.
Yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin and crypto in general is very volatile, but in general, the trend is pretty clear. Do you think, when we look 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever years in the future, that we will look back at this as the biggest wealth transfer of all time? People who stay in fiat, dollar, euro, kroner, whatever, and never go to the other side of crypto, they will be left, poor or not having the same purchasing power, at least as the people that actually went into crypto. Is that one of the reasons why you do it? Do you see that?
I hope that's the reason. I really hope that this can give average Joe opportunity to get in. Because if you see like the famous 1% of the world, but if we just speak talking about actually really wealthy people and families and stuff, they have better opportunities. Not talking about that they have a better boat or a car or a house or stuff like this,
right?
But financially, they have better opportunities.
Freedom,
in the bank,
financial freedom.
Yeah, they have a financial freedom, but because they are getting services and products that we are not.
True.
Whatever we do, we can never get the same deals in the bank. We can never get our money out there and working for us until now, until recently, because of Bitcoin, because of blockchain, because of people like they were there from the beginning. They actually still are there and working for it every day. Now we have like an opportunity to let money work for us.
And not just the banks.
No, yeah, exactly. The average guy. And I think that's one of the most important things right now. We see all these DeFi, decentralized finance product and service and stuff like this. It's like the third bubble, if we can take it like this, because we had like I never thought Bitcoin as a bubble. Because when you're talking about a bubble, then you actually have an idea of what stuff has to be worth.
Right.
Otherwise, it actually can breach. So and no one actually had idea of what Bitcoin actually would be worth in 10 years.
And Bitcoin doesn't care. Like the mining will still go on, and network will still run. They don't care about the price.
It will. But of course, we can see that like there are no inflection points and stuff like this, and every 4 years the Bitcoin is halving, and all these things. True. If you just like plain math, we are 7 billion people in the world. There are 21 million Bitcoin. If everyone has to get a little cut of it, then you can figure out what the price will be. But I think the most important is that that blockchain and tokens and all these the open ledgers and stuff like this has given opportunities that we didn't have before, like the internet did a lot. When I speak with people and they say, yeah, but Bitcoin is still slow and the transactions are not fast and it's expensive and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but the internet didn't start with like you could went to Airbnb and rent a apartment or trigger a taxi on Uber or take your app and just play a game in real life.
Right.
We have to start somewhere. And we can see the last 10 years when Bitcoin and crypto, we have different stages where we actually have been and where we are going. And one of the biggest flaw I see in crypto is actually the price. Because people are speculating in the price.
Right.
And that's often going to set back the whole innovation about it. We saw it when the ICOs, the initial coin offering in 2017, was just booming because everyone could fund their project with Ethereum, and there was a lot of guys who have paid maybe $1 or $9 or $10 for Ethereum, and now it's worth $1,400. Yeah. So now when they invested $1,400 into a project, they actually just spent like $5-10 on it. Yeah. So it gave possibility for average Joe to get in projects, new tokens, new companies on a new level.
True.
But there also was again human mistakes, human flaws, because of course there was a lot of money in the game. And also there was a lot of scams and stuff like this. And there will always be, because if there's money to make, there will be people who take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And there will always be. But the problem is that every time it's like blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, that is getting they are the bad guys. But they actually don't. Bitcoin is open source. I don't know how many 100,000 programmers has tried to hack it. Never happens.
Yeah.
A lot of exchanges and stuff like this, yes, but that's third part security.
That has nothing to do with Bitcoin network.
Nothing. So if you actually just have like this wallet and sending Bitcoin from A to B, it works. Yeah. It's safe and secure.
And it's worked since it started, 2009.
It actually did. Yeah. It has worked since it started.
That's the beauty about Bitcoin, I think. It's the only system, network, whatever you want to call it, that has been running with 100% uptime since its inception, since it started, and can document it. Yeah. I'm sure if you go to Google, Facebook, Amazon, whatever, they will say the same thing. Yeah, our system has been running for 100% of the time. Yeah, but there's no way you can prove it. No. Bitcoin can. Yeah. And I think that's, from a technical standpoint, that's really the beauty and the incredible breakthrough that Bitcoin has provided. Yeah. Outside of the price and all these things.
I think the openness about the actually blockchain, it's just like a open ledger where we actually just can see every transaction, and every 10 minutes when a new block is coming, then all the transaction for this transaction will go into this and will be locked forever. You can actually for this year, I think beginning of this year, I got contact from a person in our group, and was told that they had made a transaction, or some guy actually had bought some Bitcoin for them, and should store them for them, because the person knew a lot about it and stuff like this, and she could the price could be locked, and there was a lot of stupid stuff. But the whole idea was that the transaction, when they made like a screen dump and used it like for a receipt that here I bought your Bitcoin, or here I sold your Bitcoin. Just going on the blockchain, looking at the block size, the number of the block, or the timestamp, or actually the address, or the amount, or there are so many things that you can go in and check. I could see that the transaction did not be at that point when they said that should be.
Right.
It was actually transactions that were made years ago. So was it fraud? I think so. Now the court has to rule
decide.
But now they have the tools, they have the information, they have they have everything they need. Now they understand how the smoking gun is working in blockchain.
Right.
And that's what I think it's also really interesting. And that to do stuff like this, it needs to have some has to be the nerd. Some has to actually see these stuff and working with this stuff, and because I've been in the space for like 10 years now,
right.
I know a lot about a lot. but I don't like I'm not an expert in one thing. I think I have like a really broad
general
knowledge about everything that's going on and has been going on in crypto. And I think that's my.
What excites you about crypto right now?
I think right now it's the DeFi space is really interesting, but I think the most interesting at the point is actually that you can what I was talking about earlier, that you can let your money work for you. That you actually we are getting tools for average Joe to actually work with his money and let the money work for him on a scale that you have to be a really rich guy to getting these services in bank or institution at that moment. So if I see a disruption in the bank system, I'm not like having the idea of banks are the cruel one, or they have to just go bankruptcy everyone and stuff. But I think that it's really important that that we are removing the power, that we're giving opportunities, different opportunities, so that actually the users can get better product, better services, cheaper services, and stuff like this. And for the last year, we have seen companies like one I'm working really close with is Celsius Network. It's a London-based company with also they have offices in the US and Tel Aviv and other places. But what they actually are doing is they have a platform, actually app where with a nice interface and easy access, where you can put your cryptocurrency. And at that point when you actually send, I think they have about 42 different currency right now they're working with.
Right.
At the same second that they arrive on this app, on this wallet, you're getting interest. You're actually earning yield
on your money.
In
a world where negative interests in fiat.
And it's not like 1%, 2% or something. It's like you can take one of the best thing, and what I'm telling a lot of people at the moment is, if you're not into crypto and you're not like the risky guy that wants to invest in Bitcoin and see the price go up and down and sleep well at night, then just take your money, transfer them one-to-one to a stablecoin. A stablecoin is just a token, a cryptocurrency that is backed one-to-one with a dollar or euro or other currencies. It also can be gold. Pax Gold is one-to-one on gold.
Yeah. So one Pax G is 1 ounce of gold.
Yeah, actually, if you have like your Pax token, you can go to Switzerland to the company and show them your token and get the gold.
I'm big. We will talk about that in a minute, but I'm very big on gold.
Yeah.
And I have the majority of my savings is in gold, not dollars or euros or whatever, but gold.
Yeah.
And I started switching to Pax Gold, Pax G, because it's just so convenient.
Yeah.
So convenient. Yeah. And as you're saying, you can earn interest on it now with Celsius.
Yeah, you can. And if you're not thinking about gold actually, but just like taking your own money and one-to-one, taking US dollar C or US dollar T tether. Some are a tether. They think it's good. Some don't think, but whatever fits you. There are like 10, 15, 20 different stable coins. But the whole idea is actually that you don't have a risk on the value, because the price is not going up and it's not going down. It's steady and it follows the dollar or the euro or whatever it's packed against. But if you just like switching your normal fiat currency to a stable coin, Celsius is giving you 10% per year. That's 10 times more than the bank.
If not more, because now they're giving
now they have negative interest and stuff like this. So, and how can they actually do that? They can do it because they actually have a lot of customers who needs cryptocurrency or need money or fiat or liquidity to make their investment in cryptocurrency. But the bank won't play with it. It's actually the same that Bitcoin Swiss with Nicolaisen and stuff like that. When he started, he was really like, okay, the bank they don't want to play with me, and that's a pity. And how can I have a company if I can have a bank account and stuff like this? How can I pay the rent if I can't pay with my cryptocurrency and stuff like this? So in the beginning for him it was a really big problem, but later on it became his biggest asset, because now he was the one that the customer could go to, and he was the service that the bank wouldn't give him. So now he made a business about actually giving people the opportunity that he didn't have with the bank.
True.
And that's the beauty of it. So when Celsius is lending out their money, or your money actually, they're giving 80% back of the interest they earn. 80%.
So they lend out to who? Like, where do they get the money from?
It can be like exchanges or institutions, hedge
investors.
funds, investors. There can be investors that actually are shorting, or position market trading, where they actually, if the price goes up or the price going down, or it can be like market making. I think Celsius has about 60% of their lenders are market makers, where they actually just put in the different trades so that a buyer always will fit a seller. And they're making really good money about it. So Celsius has when they lend out, they take a collateral, and they take a big collateral. They take about 100 to 200% on a loan, because they know that they have to like secure our money, the average Joe. So they are paying us back and taking a big cut from the institutions and the traditional money makers out there in the world. I think that's a really, really beautiful business case. And from the beginning, I've been with them since 2017 on the ICO, and I was reading their white paper, and the entire idea of their vision was actually do good. If I can do something good for my customer, I will gain on it. I will also make good money on it. And that's the business case, and it works. And
they also refer to people not as customers but as community members.
Yes,
I noticed.
Yeah, because normally in tech space you're like a user. And the funny thing is actually if you see like users, software and drugs are the only products that actually use customers as users. So your user, your client, or your community, because Celsius is for the community. And we actually they have like this top 200 list with the biggest holders of Celsius tokens, and they started in 2017, and now we have 2020, and they made more than $80 millionaires on this list. So there are still 120 to go. So till we have a top 200 millionaires, just because they invested in their token.
Right.
And the whole idea is actually that Celsius is paying the interest in their own token if you want, or you can get it in the kind that you actually have put in. So Bitcoin to Bitcoin, Ethereum to Ethereum, stablecoin to stablecoin, and stuff like this. And right now they are paying out more than $2 million per week.
$2 million.
$2 million per week. And it's about 80,000 customers.
Damn.
And their goal is 100 million customers. So
how many customers or users do
they
have?
They have registered about 270,000, but from the 270,000, there's about 80,000 that have more than $100 or $10 on the account.
Right, active users. Right. So 270,000 users, and they want to bring in how many, you said?
100 million.
100 million. So they are far away, actually, from
they are far away. But if you see their track record and see the first 20,000 users, it took about a year, maybe 1.5 years.
Right.
And for the last year, they they went the 20,000 users almost every month.
Damn.
So and all the numbers, if you see it, you can see everything is open. You can see every transaction. You can see every payment they made. Every time they get a new user. Every time they're moving or users are moving tokens
funds,
or crypto from out of their system. You can see it. So they have every day they have a report where we got this kind of money in, this kind of money out. So the balance is this, and at this point they have about $3.5 billion US dollar they are handling for people.
Damn.
So it's a really interesting project, and the token also it's one of the most it's the token that actually made the highest what is called gain this year.
Right.
I think they're about 3,800% or something. For the last 12 months.
In 2020, when the pandemic is rolling in.
2020. And that's also because we had this in February, May, this really big crash in the market when Corona came and all this kind of stuff. So at that time also the price went really fast and really a lot down. But then it came up again, and now it's like they have like this flywheel because they are going to the market every week, buying from the market their own token back and giving it back to the community as interest. So they are actually making a economic wheel, like a flywheel, where you actually you. I think that's one of the most important things if you can be economic free, of course, but if you actually can be economic free, that the interest you're getting, the money work that you're getting, can pay all your
expenses.
I think that's the most important thing that it's going on in the crypto space right now, and we see a lot of companies trying to copy this and giving higher rates and higher yields and stuff like this. But the most important thing is on every business that you make is actually having a business case that works, that is where you're getting income and you actually have a profitable business. And Celsius has.
Can someone see the profit and loss income statement basically of Celsius somewhere? Is that the public information?
No, it's not public information, but every year,
they do an annual report.
They make an annual report. It's coming here in February next year, and they are going to put it on the website.
I think the beauty with products like Celsius, obviously they have competitors, as you say. There's a lot of people who try to imitate them. But the beauty is when you look at fiat, dollars, euros, etc., especially in a world with negative interest, is that you're basically telling not only is there inflation, central banks in general, they try to hit 2% inflation rate. Yeah. So your money gets less purchasing power. It's worth less, basically. And that's been the case for a long time. It's also the case for Bitcoin in a sense, because as more Bitcoins get mined, there's an inflation, there's more supply of Bitcoin. But at some point that will stop. So you can argue right now Bitcoin is an inflationary asset, but at some point it will be a deflationary asset because there will be no more Bitcoin. And as idiots like us continue to lose our Bitcoin, then you can argue that it's a deflationary asset already. Yeah. But the problem with fiat is that it's always been inflationary. It's always been losing purchasing power. But with services like Celsius, where you can deposit especially crypto, not only do you have a deflationary asset like Bitcoin, you also have yield or interest on that asset. Yeah. So when you compare that, getting interest, let's say on Cell or Bitcoin or whatever, and then comparing that to earning negative interest on your dollars, you are going to be a big time loser over a period of time if you continue being a fiat negative interest rate kind of person.
Yeah, you will. And actually, the whole compounding aspect of the whole idea is actually that you're going to get your interest paid out every week. So 52 times a year, they're paying out the interest. And every week after that, so first week you're getting interest, week after you're getting interest of what you have on the account plus the interest that they paid last week.
Yeah.
So we are going to see if they're going to like giving you 10% or something. In 10 years, it's 100%. In 20 years, more. So the gain you will have is tremendous, and it will just go up if you just take the interest.
Yeah.
And if you can pay all your costs and with just your interest,
then you're financial free.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a millionaire. Because if you just have like your expenses is like 20,000 kroner a month,
right?
Yeah, if you can cover these costs and still have a little bit money over
with your interest,
and then you go to work and you can spend all your salary on just living your life.
Do you think crypto, forgetting about the price increases that crypto might have and all that, do you think crypto is the gateway, the fastest way to earn or achieve financial freedom? Forgetting about the price increase.
Yeah, I think all the new products and services that are coming and are there right now, I think that we will. I think yes. I think I think so. Yeah. I think that I see a lot in different communities where we are talking a lot about these passive income, yield farming and staking and all these kind of stuff that actually can where your cryptocurrency and your money are working for you. And I think that we have only seen the top of the icebergs about it. And I remember back in 2016, I bought a couple of Dash tokens,
right.
and Dash was one of the first that you actually could run a masternode on. And the masternode is actually not that. It's a little bit different than mining Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is you use proof of work. You actually have a machine that is working, where Dash is proof of stake, where you actually you're putting in collateral of a token on a wallet that you synchronize with the network on a server, and then you actually are part of validation and consensus from the network.
Right.
And when I saw this, I saw, okay, my money can work for me, and I really like the part that money can work for you, even when you sleep and or on a vacation and stuff like this.
Right.
So I invested in. I bought. I think it was 2,000 Dash tokens at that point. I bought them for Ethereum or Bitcoin at the time. And then I put these nodes or this collateral and got actually a masternode from Dash, and it gave me my like 10, 12, 13%
nice
per year, and it was steady. But then also the payment was in Dash, and Dash in 2017 went from, I think it was $10 to $1,800, $1,900 or something like this. So
right.
At the time when I actually put in the collateral, it was maybe $5,000-$10,000 for one node. But at the end of 2017, it was like I think 1.234 billion US for a node. And then I realized that if people have to go into like having passive income on running a masternode, then we have to make a system that where people actually can buy in a small part of it, because no one has like the money to actually buy an entire masternode. So at that point, actually, Casper, one of the use in Bitcoin Talk, our group, he contacted me and he said, Jimmie, about the masternode and stuff like this, I know you are running some of them, and I want in, but I don't have the money to actually run an entire node, so can we share one? I was like, yeah, why not? And he was like, okay, if you can take like 90% of it, then I can take 10%. He was like, yeah, let's do it.
Right.
And at that point, actually, the idea of our next company, Staken, came. And it came from one day to another. I remember it was in December 2016 or 17 or something. And Casper, he was like, he saw the idea, because now he was actually a customer of a service,
right,
that I knew a lot about. So he made like this post in the group where he said if someone was interested in sharing a masternode, and at that point people didn't know anything about masternode.
right.
What's a masternode? How does it work and stuff like this? So
When is this? Like what year?
I think it was 2017. I think it was December 2017, about there, maybe a month or two before.
Right. Just around the crash.
Yeah. So we started to actually implement this stuff, and I remember when we started, it was a lot of people contact us, and they went in because they made a lot of money on crypto,
Right.
and now they just could put it into new crypto, new project and stuff like this, and the whole market of masternode just exploded. Every day they came new, and they had like a 10,000% gain and stuff like this. It was crazy. So we had like to every time to check the different project and see what's actually going on.
Right.
And we were sitting with Excel arc and just keeping track of what does this guy put in and what and stuff like this. And we made I think we made a quite nice Excel sheet that could a lot of stuff, but we fast realized that we have to do this.
This is not scalable.
It's not scalable at all. And I know Casper, he was sitting day and night just putting masternodes up. It was,
full-time job,
it was
spinning
really
up servers.
I remember one time he just sent me a text, and he said, we are earning 3.5 Bitcoin per day.
Damn.
So it wasn't our money, because we were giving back the same like Celsius is doing now. We had like I think we had a 10% fee, so we were giving back 90% of the income,
Nice.
and we used the 10% for running costs for servers and stuff like this.
So actually around the same time where you invested in the ICO of Celsius, around the same time you were doing the masternode project, Staken project. Okay.
Yeah. And it went crazy. We had like 1,000 users, customers in a couple of months, and had more than 2,000 masternode running. And at that point, before that, I involved Morten again from Reality Clash Gaming, because he's a programmer, and at that point in time he had like a company with programmers, and I needed programmers because again I wasn't a technical guy.
Right.
So he helped actually making Staken 1.0.
Nice.
And it was a good. It was a lot better than our Google Sheets.
Right.
But it was still working on it. So after a while, the scaling problem came, because we couldn't actually pay out as fast as the money actually came in.
Right.
So we were starting on Monday, and we're finished on Saturday or Sunday, and then we started again paying the same nodes for the same people, manually, every day by day, 12, 15, 16 hours a day.
Right.
And in the beginning it was okay, because there was also a lot of income, but then came the crash. It was like a 60% crash on Bitcoin, but it was like a 90 or 99% on different masternode projects.
Damn.
And a lot of them were scams, and a lot of stuff happened. And at that time, I actually, because I was thinking about a service for masternodes, but I didn't. We actually wasn't that ready to go into it. But because of this little note on this Facebook group, everything just exploded at that time. So I actually, when I look back, I have hoped that we will start later, before everything crashed, and then took the market where it actually was. Because a lot of people actually lost money. We lost a lot of money. I personally lost a lot of money. Morten lost a lot of money, because we were investing in the same private that all our users and customers. So yeah, I don't know how many. I think maybe 15, 20 Bitcoin on my part.
Wow.
But again, it was like a learning curve.
Right.
And we did learn a lot. And here in I think it was beginning of this year, I actually bought one of our biggest competition in this space. Their system is it's almost 100% automatic, and auto payouts and stuff like this. And they did a lot of good stuff.
No Excel sheets.
Yeah, no more sheets. And actually, we have nothing to do with payout of the customer. Everything is going directly to the user, from the masternodes to the user through smart contracts and the system and stuff like this. So
Right.
the only thing we have like a manual push button. It's actually a button that you have to push, and then it's sent out from all the nodes to all the users with all the percentage of the different nodes and stuff like this. But we also can do it 100% automatic.
Right.
And if you want to terminate a share, then you just push on your system as a customer. You just push say, okay, I want out, and we got a message, and then just the system just do it.
Right.
Send the amount that they put in back to the address they gave to us. So everything is automatic. But the problem at the moment is that the market is still down. The Bitcoin is up, Ethereum and top 20 and stuff like this. But this is project. They are maybe top 3,000 on the list. So they are small projects, but some of them are really good projects. So,
promising. Yeah.
And that was also when I saw the whole mining industry where the bigger player just took over. I saw my private little mining rig they just went dead.
Yeah.
Couldn't work anymore.
Right.
And the same thing I thought with proof of stake, because I've always thought about that mining Bitcoin must be smarter in the future at some point.
Right.
And the whole idea was actually to give people the opportunity to get in and be part of validating on the network and stuff like this. So yeah.
Do you think proof of work is going to die out? It seems proof of stake is just taking over slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Ethereum 2.0 is coming up with moving from the consensus mechanism from proof of work to proof of stake. Dash has been pioneering it in some shape or form, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Bitcoin moving just like Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake?
I believe in the future that Bitcoin also will be proof of stake.
Okay.
I think that now we have to see how Ethereum 2.0 is going to work.
Right.
And if this is going to be this success that everyone is believing, then I believe we are back that there are two players in the game, and Bitcoin for payment. Even though people are saying that it's not fast, it's expensive and stuff like this,
right?
But it's still the most secure payment system we have seen. It hasn't been broken for the last 10 years, and it will not be broken for the next 20.
Right.
And Ethereum is going to take over the other part with the smart contract and stuff like this. So project like Cardano, ADA, and stuff like this, they're going to have to be extremely innovative if they want to take the fight with Ethereum.
Right.
If it's going to work, we don't know.
Right.
It's something new. But it's definitely interesting.
Right.
And I also personally put in a little bit of ETH to actually be part of the system.
Right.
As I did with almost
in the Ethereum 2.0 protocol. Right. Will there be another token? Is there a new Ethereum token coming up?
There will come Ethereum 2.0 token actually, but they will be simultaneous. So the only difference is actually if you have the one token or the other token is are you staking or are you not staking. So it's not going to be like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin blah blah blah. But there will be actually two tokens. But it's just if you have this token on this or you, on this platform or this wallet or this address or this address. So I haven't actually put in that many hours on reading up on it because I still think it's a long way. But I think it's nice that big players actually put in the amount that needed, so we can see if it's
like Celsius. I remember
Celsius did. They put in the last 25 million, and also Bitcoin Swiss put in about 20% of the entire amount.
Okay, nice.
And not private, but through their customers and stuff like this. So I think that was really awesome. That
nice.
But these guys they have worked with Ethereum almost from the beginning.
And they have a pretty strong interest in the ecosystem growing in general, right?
They have, and they are like they have a good relationship with the Ethereum Foundation and stuff like this.
Right,
so I think it's nice to see pioneers like them really also putting the money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
So I think that was really awesome.
I think a lot of the whole craze and excitement about DeFi, has roots in the proof of stake sort of movement.
Yeah.
So you can argue that DeFi is only going to go even more crazy because more and more protocols, more and more blockchains will move to proof of stake.
Yeah.
But do you think, because that's also something that people argue, that DeFi is in a bubble? We had the ICO bubble. Maybe we have the DeFi bubble that will burst.
Yeah.
God knows when, if ever. Do you think we're in a bubble when it comes to DeFi?
Yes and no. I think that DeFi is not in a bubble as a service or as a new technology, but I think that we are in a bubble about all these new companies. They think they are the new
black.
The new black, new orange. So I think that's the problem. I think that's the same problem that we had with ICO, the same problem we had with Masternode. We are seeing the same problem now. That again, biggest flaw in the crypto people, humanity. They are going to
not the technical parts. It's the humans.
Yeah, it actually is, because there are so much greed in people. And everyone wants to be like the best or stuff like this, but I think it's also that it's a good thing, because that's also innovative stuff. So that's why we're just not okay. The wheel we already have, so we don't have to innovate on it.
Right.
But so that's the nice part of it. But I also have like the other side of the metal. And I think that the bubble is that we are going to see a lot of these companies coming up, and they're getting their funding through promise on big outcome for the users. And we have to remember, if you have to get some money, another one has to pay for this. So when I'm talking about that, my cryptocurrency or my money is working for me. Yeah, but there's still some other person or other unity that actually are paying for this.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that money or fortune is not just something that you take out of the sky. It's not thin air. It's actually so at that point I think that we are in a bubble, and I think that people actually have to be careful what they are investing in and how they are investing their money, and never invest more than you can lose. It's just like a cliche, but especially in crypto, people are not actually, they are saying it, but no one is doing it. We are all over invested in crypto. We are. Yeah. Because we are living it, and we are seeing the opportunities, but I myself is also over invested in crypto, because I invested in a lot of small companies and stuff like this, and I'm not afraid to losing it, but I can see that I think if I had to invest in a normal company, I would look a little bit more into the business and stuff like this than I do in many of these crypto companies.
Right.
And that's also why the ICOs in 17 just went crazy, because it was just a paper. It was actually just an idea on a paper without any technical substance or backing or anything that actually said, okay, this is going to work. But still they could raise 50 million, 100 million, a billion and stuff like this. There
was this story, you mentioned a billion. There was a story, was it yesterday or this week, I think, about Steve Wozniak, the founder of Apple, together with Steve Jobs, who created some blockchain crypto company. And they raised, I think they launched like this week, and they raised 900 million US, almost $1 billion. Yeah. And that's crypto in a nutshell, I guess. People don't really care. It's a name that, it's a strong name with Steve Wozniak. Maybe they have some good advisors also, whatever it may be. as long as they check those few boxes, then people will just throw
Yeah.
ETH, Bitcoin, whatever it is, at that project.
Yeah, if you have like the 3 points like security or anonymous and cheap and a transaction or a payment solution, then you are good to go. Today, it's a little bit harder, but if you have the name in the space and you have the track record, I think it's still possible. And also, when we look at Celsius, it's the idea is good. But the most important thing is also how they are doing it and why they are doing it.
Right.
And if you look like on Alex Mashinsky, the founder or the co-founder of Celsius, he's not just average Joe.
Right.
He's not like woke up in 2016 just or 17 and said,
started Celsius.
I have to make ICO because we can make a lot of money on it. He started back in 80 or 90 or something about different tech companies and was actually one of the inventor of VoIP, voice over IP. I didn't know.
Skype uses,
it's
Google Hangout,
everything that actually where you speak over internet. Zoom, yeah.
Imagine a world in Corona without voice over IP.
Yeah, that's crazy. And he just put it out open source. Of course, he made money out of it and he made a business out of it and stuff like this.
Right.
Because it's not humanity. It's not like that we are just here for the good. Right. But if you can make a business, do good, and also make a good business out of it, then you have something. And I believe that he is the right guy to actually take this next step in crypto. Right. He founded about, I think, 7 companies, and they are all still alive, and 3 of them are unicorns. One of them was sold for $3 billion US, and so he has a track record. And he also, his next what he is doing right now is money over IP. So it isn't that different of what he actually did before. Right. True. And he's not an of anything new. Banks have done this for years and years. But they centuries. Yeah, centuries actually. But they forgot to actually pay back to the one that actually gave them the money.
Arguably, they didn't forget; they just got greedy.
Yeah. I think it has to be that way. So,
but that's also something that I think that is super powerful about Celsius. They already committed to basically flip the banking model and say we pay back 80% and keep 20%. They said that from the beginning. They're not going to change that.
I think they will change it at sometimes, but I think it's going to be 90 instead of 80.
Okay, so they give back 90% instead of...
I think that will be the next big thing. Maybe next year, maybe a year more. But I think they will always go and try to fight the competition to do better. To actually move them in the right direction. So I think the next one...
Has he been hinting at that? Alex is very outspoken, right? Has he been...
No, he hasn't said that, but he has said that this will happen before we are putting it less.
Damn. Wow.
And I believe him. But it's also when you invest in and when you haven't invested in something, then you also have to know the details. You have to know the person behind it. You have to know the team and how they are doing, how they are working, and why they are doing it, and stuff like this. And of course, all the employees from Celsius, they are going to when they are getting their tokens and their bonus and stuff like this. When prices are going up. They are being wealthy, but they also work for it for 3 years now. Some of them have been there from the beginning, where Celsius was nothing, where the SIL token was nothing, where no users, no community, no nothing. So of course they have to have a benefit of it at some point, but I think that the most important is that the value you put into your business and how you're running your business. If you actually are good, you like to do good and you're good, then you will have a really good business. And I think that's the most important. It's nice actually to see a product and a service and a company that actually is doing good.
And one could argue that he's doing exactly what he did with voice over IP, making it open source, creating a business around it, sure. He's probably arguably in the best position to actually create a company around a powerful technology like voice over IP. It seems like he's doing the exact same thing with money now.
Yeah.
And the beauty of money also, which I think few people realize, is that it's literally just a number in a database. Whether that database is distributed in something like a blockchain or centralized in something like a bank, doesn't really matter. It's an entry in a database.
Yeah.
And if he can make, I don't know what he's making open source exactly with money over IP, but if he's doing something like that and people can build products on top of this, then he's not only changed the world through voice over IP, but he will change, the world for centuries to come. He will disrupt the entire banking system and the whole financial system that everybody is sort of slaves to. He would have changed that forever.
Yeah.
Because the risk about Celsius, I think, and in general any crypto project, is that legislators can very quickly, not quickly maybe, but they can, really hit these companies hard. And God knows what will happen to Celsius. Nobody knows, but the more they piss off the banking system, the more likely it is the legislators will come in and say, hey, maybe we should do something with these Celsius guys that will sort of diminish their traction.
Yeah, I believe you're right. And I also believe that now we have like the lending service and we have like the yield service. And that's two products that the bank also have.
Right.
And I think that the goal is actually to have every entire product line that banks has in Celsius.
Do you think they will do that?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I think that's the goal, that they are taking one product at a time.
Nice.
And just doing good with it. And I think that's
Nice.
That's why the flywheel is so tough at the moment, and the community are good and strong, and we see it. We see when the prices is going a little bit down, it's a huddle community. People are huddling,
right,
because they know that yes, maybe the price is going a little bit down, but the money is still working for you.
Yeah.
Every day, every hour, every second, every minute.
Yeah.
It's just working for you.
And paying you every week.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's one of the most important right now. One that's what I'm putting most energy into, even though I'm not part of the company. But I think it's interesting, and I think it's really and important that people know about it. Then they make their if they want to go in or not. I don't have to decide that for them. But if they have the knowledge and the information about it, then they can do something with it. Yeah. And I think the next thing that I actually use a lot of time on is doing. Yeah, I think I've done for the last 10 years. But now we actually have like systems. We have services that actually can do easy, fast, and cheap secure transaction with traditional fiat currency into crypto and out again.
Right.
Like companies like Coinify,
right.
Who is one of the leading companies in the space that working with these things. I think it's important that the innovative companies are looking to each other and actually working together on solving this problem, because sitting in your basement and invent something or make a good service, and in another house in another basement a guy sitting to doing the same, then we're not getting anywhere. No. Or it's going to take a longer time. So I think it's important to actually put them together, putting smart people together to make good. I think that's right. That's a goal for you this year and maybe next year.
So what comes next, do you think? What comes next from you, Jimmie Steinbeck?
I don't know. I actually don't know what... I think that like I've done this year, spending a lot of time and energy on putting smart people together, smart services to make it easy and accessible for users. And I still every day will spend hours on just preaching about Bitcoin and blockchain and tokens and
Financial
tokenization
freedom
and stuff like this. But I think
right.
if we are looking into the future with something that we haven't spoken that much about, it's going to be non-fungible tokens. Actually taking the whole gaming industry and tokenize this industry, the skins and the
virtual assets in general.
and all the assets in the games and actually working to take products from the real world, physical products and digital, tokenize it so you can trade it on the blockchain. I think this is going to be the next billion, million, trillion dollar industry in crypto.
Do you think everything will be tokenized? That's the promise of blockchain, right? Everything will be on the blockchain.
I think at some point, yes. I think at the moment we have the next step must be that we are going to take the digital assets that actually are in maybe some like games and stuff like this,
right.
and start with them, because that's not physical stuff. So it's actually a little bit easier to put this on the blockchain. But I think later on, I know Morten from Reality Clash Gaming is working on it. They just closed a partnership with BBC.
Nice.
And are tokenizing the entire universe of Doctor Who.
Wow.
And they're going to make a lot of interesting things for the next many years. But I think we will see that we can tokenize different kind of assets. If it's a car you have in the garage, or if it's a painting on the wall, or if it's even if it's like that, maybe if you buy a Nike shoe or something, that that this shoe is original because you have a token on a blockchain on the Nike blockchain that tells you
the product
that this
ID
shoe
or whatever
has the product ID.
Yeah.
It's fabricated on this time in this place,
right.
and the employee was like Mr. Hong or whatever. I think we will see a lot more of this, and I think that we will maybe in the future we actually will see like a real deal made on blockchain, government stuff and things like this. So
nice.
I think we are. Like when we started for 10 years ago with Bitcoin, I think we are. It takes a decade to get somewhere with some new technology.
Right.
I always look at it like if you look like Facebook, Facebook had like a timeline of 5-6 years before it actually became mainstream. And Facebook is like the easiest thing in the world. It's like a window to all your friends and network and stuff like this.
True.
And it was so simple. It was just uploading a picture and of yourself and write something about it, and then connect with your friends and network, and it took 7 years just to get a little bit mainstream. And now it's 10-11 years later, or how much, and now it is mainstream. It is everyday stuff, and I think crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain, even though it's really, really simple coding. If you look at it, it's actually. I think Nikolajsen said at some point he is a coder. He said he understood it the same evening he got it. So it's not really that hard to understand. But I think the entire idea of getting it mainstream will take years. Because it needs to be faster, it needs to be easier, it needs to be more accessible, and the same thing is like people say, Visa is still faster than Bitcoin, and stuff. But Visa is like mainstream. It's used in, but it's still, it works on a really
and it's been around for many years. Like Bitcoin is only 10 years old. Visa, I think dates back to the 50s, maybe 60s, something like that.
Yeah. And the same, like if you take something newer like mobile pay we have in Denmark, or it's like people say, it's just my app and it works. Yeah, but it's still working on a really, really old system. So the technology behind it is more complex than the most know. And they actually use tokens that has the value of the transaction that you make. They're going back to the bank, see if are the funds there? Yes, okay, then we are going to put out the money. But the shop that you actually paid in they are still waiting 14 days, 3 weeks, a month before they are getting the money.
Because of the SWIFT protocol.
Yeah, because it's just like old system on a new app interface.
I typically, when people say that, Visa is faster, MasterCard is faster, all these old incumbents, big financial institutions that's been around for decades, sometimes centuries, I said, yeah, okay, what about the gasoline car versus the electric vehicle?
Yeah.
The two technologies has been there for quite some time, but the vast majority of investments has gone into the gasoline car. Now, the past, 20 years maybe with Tesla, some refocus has been to the EV, the electric vehicle. Imagine the same amount of money that has been invested into the gasoline car goes into the electric vehicle the next, 2-3 decades. Yeah. Imagine how superior the EV will become compared to the gasoline car. Yeah. And it's the same argument for blockchain and these new distributed ledgers. Imagine all the investments, and this is not decades, this is centuries, right? Yeah. Since the Italians in the 12th century or whatever. Yeah. Imagine you have 800 years of investment going into distributed ledgers. It's going to go like far beyond what Visa is able to accomplish, or MasterCard, or whatever company out there that processes payments.
Yeah, the world just has to switch focus.
Yeah.
That's
true.
That's
it. And that's where you are a pioneer, I think, helping people since 2010, more or less. So I want to ask you, we have a bit of a technical difficulty here. I'm sorry about that. But I want to ask you in the end, where do people find you? Like, you are outspoken on the group, of course, but where do people find you these days?
I think people are finding me almost everywhere. They can just Google my name. I even think they will find my private phone number, or even at least they will find an email to me. But right. Messenger on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, you name it.
Cool. Twitter also you use a lot.
Twitter also. Twitter account, and in different groups I am in. Nice. Almost all the most interesting groups on Telegram. Discord, also something new for me.
Getting your hands dirty, getting in there.
Yeah, it's like I think it's more for gamers and stuff like this. Sure. But crypto is using a lot of it because it's a good place to have a community. But I think the one that I don't like about Discord or Telegram is that you can be any person that you want. No one actually knows your identity and stuff like this. So I actually use a lot of energy on using the same profile picture and my real name and stuff like this in the different groups because it's important that the people know that they actually are talking to me. And also if there are someone making a fake profile, that's happened a lot actually.
Of you?
Almost every day on Facebook. And
of you?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's important that people actually can contact me and say, are we actually speaking together? Instead of that I just have like a avatar or something on the different space. Yeah. But also, it also have like a backside because I got a lot of it, of messages and stuff like this. I think it's 50 to 200 per day or something like this. But and I try to answer every one of them. But if people send me like, do you think Bitcoin is going up? If I get questions like this, or what do you think Bitcoin is going to be in 2021 or something? Right. I'm not asking them. Because I think it's if you start there, then you
get a really, shitstorm of feedback.
You need to also you need to actually if you're interested in investing in cryptocurrency, you have to have a basic knowledge. Yeah. Of course, I would love to give you this basic knowledge, but I think if you are investing your own money, then you also have to actually just Google it. Yeah. Just Google something. Yeah. And if you don't find the answer, then you can contact me again, or you can use the group to just ask, and we are more than 13,500 people or something.
But do your own research is important.
And we are happy to help, but don't people say don't ask stupid questions, and there are no stupid questions, but there are ignorant questions and lazy questions. Try just to
Google.
see if you can find some information.
Google is your friend.
Yeah, Google is your friend.
But Jimmie, you are the real deal here. You're not an avatar or fake or whatever. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for being here. It was really nice.